Clover was still feeling the sting of Mrs. Chapman's accusation that the play amounted to nothing more than the girls talking in funny voices and the boys beating the living daylights out of each other. She couldn't help but imagine the criticism that Mrs. Chapman was planning to heap upon her and the rest of the school, and she didn't like it one little bit. Clover watched the rest of the show with an air of mild detachment. She observed that the children's interpretation of A Midsummer Night's Dream had been rather overtaken by the idea that people could be turned into donkeys. There was a common agreement in the small group of boys responsible for the scene that many, if not all, of the challenges faced by Oberon, King of the Fairies, could be laid to rest by the wholesale transformation of inconvenient persons into mules. This treatment was summarily applied to all the principal characters of the play, until a triumphant Oberon found himself the owner of a small herd. The only disadvantage in this scenario for Oberon was that the donkey's notorious stubbornness required him to discipline them by unceremoniously kicking them on their rear ends. This, the boys had explained to Clover, was poetic justice that functioned on the much-discussed many levels of meaning that she had urged them to explore. Regretfully, violence and donkeys were also key themes of the next scene, which was based on Richard III. In this segment, King Richard's rhetorical battlefield promise to offer his kingdom in exchange for a horse was answered by the appearance of 3 magical donkeys sent into the heat of the battle by King Oberon the Fairy, not as a gesture of regal solidarity, but to quietly force a political settlement that would annex all the lands and territories of England, converting them into principalities of the land of Faerie. Clover found herself musing on the political astuteness of the boys' thinking and the subconscious legacy of British colonial history. She had felt some misgivings about this scene, but she had also endeavoured to support the children in exploring the story in their own way. Unfortunately, the outcome proved to be a minimally articulated portrayal of donkey-oriented carnage and swordplay, delivered in a style that owed more to Rowan Atkinson than Laurence Olivier.